first time the Galactic Union saw a human, they thought they were meeting a strange but gentle race. The human representative, a man named Cole, arrived at the great space station Helix Prime wearing a simple dark uniform and a calm smile. He bowed politely to every alien diplomat he met. He thanked the servants who offered him water. He even helped a small assistant from the insectoid Crixus species when it dropped its datapad. The sight of such behavior confused many species who were used to arrogance and pride in politics. To most members of the Galactic Union, power meant control. The Drell, who ruled several star systems, measured worth by military strength. The Varn valued wealth and mining rights. The CERN cared only about bloodlines. To them, the humans seemed to care only about peace and kindness. They saw no armor, no weapons, no loud words. They saw a race that smiled easily and spoke gently. Rumors began to spread across Helix Prime. Some said the humans came from a low-gravity world. Others said their world had no wars. A few even laughed that humans were probably protected pets of some greater species. It became common to see aliens whisper when humans passed by in the station corridors. They called them Harmless. Cole knew all of this. He had served in the United Earth Marines before joining the Diplomatic Corps. He had seen battlefields, he had lost friends, and he had promised himself he would never return to war. So he did not argue when aliens laughed. He smiled and moved on. He thought perhaps it was better that way. One day, the Galactic Union Council decided to hold a demonstration. Each member species would show how they trained their soldiers. It was a way to share tactics and prove discipline. When the announcement reached the human delegation, most of them hesitated. Humans had joined the Union to build peace, not to impress others with war. But the Council insisted. Every member had to participate, even Earth. The small human team gathered in a quiet room. There were only 8 of them. Cole was the senior officer, though he tried not to show it. The youngest, a pilot named Hannah, asked if they should even bother. "They already think we are weak," she said. "Maybe it is better not to show anything." Cole shook his head. "If we refuse, they will keep thinking we are afraid. We will go. We will show discipline, not violence. That will be enough." When the day of the demonstration arrived, the great arena of Helix Prime was full. Thousands of alien eyes watched from the balconies. The Drell soldiers marched with heavy steps and metal armor that shone under the lights. The Varn presented their battle drones that floated and fired energy blasts at targets. The insectoid Crixa warriors displayed their flight formations and cutting speed. Each group tried to outshine the last. The air was thick with pride and competition. Then came the humans. Cole led his team to the center of the arena. No armor, only light exosuits for safety. No flashy weapons, only training rifles. The audience whispered. Some even laughed. A Drell commander muttered that it looked like a group of workers rather than soldiers. The lights dimmed. The demonstration began. Cole gave a single command word and the team moved. They did not run wildly or shout. They moved as one body. Every step, every turn, every shot was perfect. The rifles fired harmless light rounds, but each hit landed on its mark with precision. When obstacles rose from the ground, the humans adjusted instantly. When a target moved, they anticipated. When smoke filled the field, they kept formation and used short, quiet signals instead of loud commands. The audience grew silent. Even the proud Drell commander stopped talking. The humans finished the course faster than any other group that day. Not one mistake. Not one wasted movement. Cole stood still as the lights brightened again. He saluted the council politely and said, "Thank you for allowing us to share our training." The hall stayed silent for several seconds before the applause began. It was not loud, but it spread slowly. First from the smaller species, then from others. Even the skeptical ones had to admit the humans were impressive. Yet behind the applause, there was confusion. The aliens had seen strength, but not the kind they understood. The humans did not celebrate victory with roars or pride. They simply left the arena as quietly as they had entered. Later that evening, in one of the grand halls, a banquet was held for all participants. Food from dozens of worlds covered the tables. The room glowed with golden light and soft music. Alien officers gathered in small groups, talking about tactics and weapons. Cole stood near a window, looking out at the stars. He preferred silence to chatter. A tall creature from the Varn Empire approached him. Its skin shimmered like polished metal. "Human Cole," it said, "your team's performance was efficient, yet it lacked passion. Do your people not enjoy the thrill of battle?" Cole turned toward the alien and smiled politely. "No," he said, "we do not enjoy war." The Varn tilted its head. "Then why are you so good at it?" Cole did not answer immediately. He looked down at his cup of water, then back at the alien. "Because we have to be," he said softly. "Because when we are not good at it, too many die." The alien did not understand, but it sensed there was something behind those calm words that it could not grasp. It nodded and walked away. Soon after, another figure approached Cole. This one was smaller, rounder, with smooth blue skin and large silver eyes. It was Rin, a scholar from the peaceful Orin species. Rin had been fascinated by humans since their arrival. Unlike others, he did not see them as weak. He saw something he could not define. "Sergeant Cole," Rin said gently, "today was interesting. You showed control, not aggression. But I heard something during your practice earlier. One of your people mentioned the words war crimes. What does that mean?" Cole looked at the scholar. He had hoped that question would never come. "It is a long story," he said. "Something we invented to keep ourselves from going too far." Rin's eyes glimmered with curiosity. "Rules for war? That sounds strange. Why would you limit your own actions in battle?" Cole gave a small, sad smile. "Because we learned what happens when there are no limits." Before Rin could ask more, the sound of music filled the hall again. The banquet continued, laughter rising from every table. Cole excused himself and stepped out into the quiet corridor. From there he could see the distant curve of Earth's moon on one side of the viewport. He placed his hand against the glass, thinking of home. He wondered if peace would ever truly last. Inside the hall, the other humans laughed and shared stories with the aliens. Some of the alien officers were trying human food and drinks, finding the flavors strange but pleasant. A few spoke with pride about learning human tactics. None of them realized that the calm smiles on the human faces hid deep memories of past wars. On the far side of the station, in the Union's intelligence chamber, several high-ranking officers reviewed the recordings of the human demonstration. They analyzed speed, precision, and coordination. One of them, a reptilian strategist named Tarl, spoke with unease. "If this is how they train for peace, how do they fight in war?" No one answered. The recordings played again on the screen. 8 humans moving as one. Calm, efficient, silent. Not a single wasted bullet. Later that night, Cole gathered his team in their quarters. The young pilot Hannah smiled at him. "We did well today," she said. "Maybe now they will respect us." Cole nodded, though his eyes looked distant. "Maybe," he said. "But respect is not always what you want. Sometimes it brings fear." He sat on his bunk, removed his gloves, and looked at the small metal badge on his wrist. It carried the emblem of the United Earth Marines. He had worn it for years, through fire and loss. To him, it was not a symbol of pride, but of warning. Humans had built their peace on lessons written in blood, outside their quarters. The corridors of Helix Prime glowed with gentle blue lights. Alien merchants packed their stalls, diplomats discussed trade, and peace seemed to fill every corner. Yet somewhere deep in the station, the first seeds of misunderstanding were already growing. The aliens thought they had learned everything about the humans. They thought these calm, polite beings were harmless. None of them knew how wrong they were. In the following days, more questions reached the human delegation. Scholars wanted to know about human military history. Officers wanted to study human tactics. Scientists asked about human endurance. The more they learned, the more puzzled they became. Every fact led to something darker. They discovered that humans came from a planet full of storms, volcanoes, and predators. They learned that humans had fought wars even before they learned to write. They saw records of ancient battles, cities destroyed, and weapons that shook the earth itself. Some species refused to believe it. Others began to fear. Cole noticed the change in how aliens looked at them. The friendly curiosity turned to cautious respect. The laughter that once followed them in corridors faded. He felt no joy in that change. He wanted peace, not fear. One evening, Rin visited Cole again. The scholar carried a tablet filled with human historical data. "Your records speak of terrible wars," Rin said quietly. "Yet you built peace after all of that. How?" Cole looked at the screen, showing images of old Earth cities and ruins, and said, "Because we had no choice. We learned that if we did not stop ourselves, no one else would." Rin studied him in silence. He began to understand that human kindness was not weakness. It was control. It was the effort of a species that had seen what it could become if it lost control. The next morning on Helix Prime, the great space station rotated slowly above a bright blue star. Inside its silver walls, hundreds of species began their daily tasks. Diplomats prepared reports, merchants opened their shops, and security teams marched in order through the long corridors. Among them, the human delegation began another day with quiet discipline. Sergeant Cole woke before the station lights brightened. He moved silently through the small living quarters, checking the training schedules on his tablet. His team followed him in everything, never waiting for orders twice, even in peace. Their movements carried the precision of soldiers who had trained through years of war. The Galactic Union had arranged a new event that week. They called it the Tactical Cooperation Exchange. Each species would form mixed teams with members of other races to share their methods. The goal was unity. The hidden goal, however, was curiosity. Many officers wanted to see more of human tactics. Cole received a formal request to join. He could not refuse. When he and his team entered the training hall, the air was cool and bright. The walls were lined with transparent panels showing stars outside. Alien officers and students filled the room. The Drell commander who had mocked them earlier now avoided eye contact. The Varn soldiers gave short, polite nods. Only Rin, the Orin scholar, greeted them with genuine warmth. "Sergeant Cole," Rin said, "I am glad to see you again. I have been thinking about what you said last night. About those rules of war." Cole gave a small smile. "Then you have been thinking about something dangerous, my friend. Not everything in human history is worth studying." Rin tilted his head. "Knowledge cannot harm those who understand it." Cole sighed but said nothing more. The training began. Each team received a mission simulation. Their goal was to rescue civilians from a damaged space habitat while facing timed obstacles. It was not real combat, but it required coordination. The humans worked alongside Varn Drell and Orin participants. Cole watched as his people quickly adapted to the mixed team. They listened to orders, gave short instructions, and adjusted to alien habits faster than anyone else. At first, the aliens tried to take charge. The Drell commander barked loud orders, moving heavy equipment without planning. The Varn soldiers used too much firepower, damaging parts of the habitat model. But the humans stayed calm. Cole quietly reorganized the team, using simple hand signals. He placed the strongest species in defensive positions and sent the faster ones ahead to search. Within minutes, the humans had turned the chaotic mission into a clean operation. They saved every simulated civilian and completed the mission in record time. When the timer stopped, silence filled the hall again. The observers whispered to one another. Cole gave a polite nod to his team and stepped back. After the session, Rin followed Cole to the corridor. The scholar's voice was thoughtful. "Your people are efficient. You plan faster than others. You act as if you have done this 1,000 times." Cole looked at him. "That is because we have." Rin blinked. "In simulations?" Cole's voice grew quiet. "No, in wars." They walked side by side through the corridor. Aliens passed them, giving respectful glances now instead of mocking ones. The station's lights reflected off the glass walls. Painting blue and white lines across the floor, Sergeant Cole, Rin asked after a pause. "When I study your history files, I see strange words. Civil wars, world wars, nuclear fire, All of them sound like destruction beyond reason. How did your species survive such things? Cole took a deep breath. Barely, he said. We came close to ending ourselves many times, but we learned from every mistake. Each time we destroyed, we built again. Each time we broke rules, we made new ones. That is why you heard the term war crimes. Those are the limits we set to stop the old horrors from returning. Limits you set on yourselves? Yes, Cole said. No one else could do it for us. The orange scholar fell silent. He could feel the weight behind those words. To most alien species, war was simple. One side won, the other lost. For humans, it seemed far more complicated. It was not about glory or power. It was about survival, guilt, and memory. Later that day, the council invited Cole to speak briefly at a strategy meeting. It was meant to be informal, only for senior officers. But news of his presence spread fast. When he entered the large conference room, dozens of species turned to look. Some whispered to each other. A few stood in respect. Cole remained calm. He walked to the center and waited for the chairperson to speak. Sergeant Cole, the chairperson said, the Union has observed your team's methods. They are unlike anything we have seen. We wish to understand your people's philosophy of warfare. You may speak freely. Cole nodded once. He looked around the room, seeing eyes of every color and shape fixed on him. Humans. He began, do not see war as a game or a test. We see it as failure. When peace breaks, we fight because we must, not because we want to. And when we fight to end it quickly. The room was quiet. Cole continued, in our history, we have seen cities burn and worlds suffer. We learn that total victory can be worse than defeat if you forget what you are fighting for. That is why we made rules. We called them laws of war. They remind us that even in battle, there must be a line we do not cross. A drill general raised a scaled hand. You mean you stop yourself from using full power? That is illogical. Why not destroy the enemy completely? Cole turned to him. Because when you destroy everything, you stop being soldiers. You become something else. Another officer, a Varn with shining armor, leaned forward. But if your enemy ignores those rules, what do you do then? Cole's eyes hardened. Then we remind them why those rules exist. His voice was calm, but there was something in his tone that made the room colder. None of the aliens spoke for a long moment. They could sense that behind those words lay history filled with pain and fury. After the meeting ended, many officers left in deep thought. A few began studying human military codes, trying to understand what kind of civilization would limit its own violence. Others whispered that the humans must be far more dangerous than they appeared. Cole returned to his quarters feeling tired. Hannah was waiting for him. She looked uncertain. Sir, are we in trouble for what you said? Cole shook his head. No, but they are beginning to see us differently. She nodded slowly. They should. They think we are soft. Cole looked at her and said quietly, let them think what they want. Strength without mercy is not power. It is fear. That night, Rin could not sleep. The words of the human marine echoed in his mind. He walked through the silent corridors of Helix Prime, his tablet in hand, studying human history files again. The more he read, the more shocked he became. He saw images of wars that had shaped entire continents. Battles fought across oceans and skies. He read about machines that could erase cities in seconds. And yet he also saw humans rebuilding those same cities afterward, forgiving their enemies, creating peace treaties that lasted for generations. He realized something no alien had understood yet. Humanity's strength was not only in its weapons or its armies. It was in its ability to rise again after destruction, to show mercy after pain, to hold back even when it had the power to destroy. The next day, Rin met Cole again in the station's observation deck. The stars glowed around them like a sea of fireflies. I understand now, Rin said softly. You made laws for war because you learned mercy from suffering. That is a good way to say it. Every scar in our history taught us a rule. Every loss became a warning. Do you think the other species will understand? Rin asked. Cole looked out at the stars. Maybe not today. Maybe not soon. But someday they will. The galaxy is peaceful now, but peace never lasts forever. When war comes again, they will remember our words. Just then, the communication system buzzed. A new message arrived from the Union High Command. It announced rising tensions in the outer colonies. Unknown raiders were attacking cargo ships near the border systems. No one knew who they were. Cole read the message and frowned. He could sense what was coming. Rin noticed his expression. Is something wrong? Cole handed him the tablet. If those raids continue, the Union will need soldiers again. And when that happens, they will call us first. Rin stared at the report, then looked back at Cole. Will you fight again? Cole's eyes turned distant. If we must, but I hope they listen before they make us show them. He walked away, leaving the orange scholar alone with the glowing stars. Rin stood there for a long time, feeling both awe and fear. For the first time, he truly understood what the galaxy had welcomed into the Union. It was not a weak and gentle race. It was a race that had survived its own fire, that had chained its fury behind rules and laws. A race that smiled because it remembered what happened when it stopped smiling, far across the station. The humans prepared quietly. They checked their supplies, updated their gear, and sent coded messages to Earth. They did not speak loudly about war. They did not boast or threaten. But every move they made carried a sense of readiness. They had seen the pattern too many times. Peace was always followed by testing. And when the galaxy tested them, they would answer. On the command deck of Helix Prime, the Council discussed possible responses. Some members called for diplomacy. Others wanted to send patrol fleets. None could agree. Finally, the chairperson said, "Let us ask the humans for advice." The stars around Helix Prime seemed calm, but every report reaching the Galactic Union told a different story. Out beyond the border worlds, trade routes were under attack. Entire cargo convoys vanished without a trace. Distress signals cut off mid-transmission. What began as rumors of pirates soon became clear. Someone, or something, was testing the strength of the Union. Inside the main council chamber, the leaders of dozens of species argued in loud voices. The Drail demanded immediate military action. The Varn wanted to hire mercenaries. The Krixa proposed sealing off their sectors completely. But no one could agree on who the enemy was or what they wanted. Sergeant Cole sat in silence near the edge of the room, listening. He had been invited as a human observer. His calm eyes followed every argument, every sign of panic. Humans had seen this before. The noise before the storm. The orange scholar Rin sat beside him, taking notes on his glowing tablet. Rin leaned closer and whispered, "They are afraid." Cole nodded. Fear makes people foolish. They will act without thinking. A moment later, the council chairperson called for order. "We must decide," she said. "We have lost 7 convoys in 10 days. If this continues, our colonies will starve. We need a plan." The Drell general slammed his hand on the table. "Send fleets to the border. Crush whoever's out there," Cole finally spoke. "And if you crush the wrong people, what then?" All eyes turned toward him. The general narrowed his eyes. "You are an observer, human, not a strategist." Cole's voice remained calm. "You will make many enemies if you attack blindly. The raiders want that. They want chaos." The general scoffed. "And what would you suggest?" "Sit and wait." Cole looked at him steadily. "No. You prepare quietly. You observe. You let the enemy show his hand before you strike." The room went silent. The chairperson considered his words. She had seen the human reports. They always focused on patience and precision. The Drail and Varn might prefer power, but the humans valued control. After a long pause, the council agreed to form a joint task force. A small fleet would investigate the border attacks. Humans were asked to send advisors. Cole was chosen to lead the observation team. When Cole told his team they were ready before he finished speaking, Hannah, the young pilot, checked the transport ship's systems. 2 other Marines prepared reconnaissance gear. Within hours, they boarded a sleek vessel called Silver Dawn and departed Helix. Prime for the border region, Ryn, determined to learn more, joined them as an observer. He had never left the safety of the station before. When he looked out the viewport and saw the endless field of stars, he felt both fear and wonder. The journey took several days. During that time, Cole taught the mixed crew how to work together. The Drell soldiers preferred heavy armor and direct fighting. The Krixa scouts favored quick attacks and high mobility. The humans showed them how to combine both. On the 3rd day, their sensors picked up a faint distress call. The signal was weak, coming from a damaged mining vessel near the edge of an asteroid field. Cole ordered the ship to approach carefully. When they reached the source, they found debris floating among the rocks. Broken metal, shattered panels, and drifting cargo containers. No life signs. Hannah frowned at her screen. It looks like a pirate attack, but there are no escape pods. Whoever did this did not leave survivors. Cole studied the wreckage. The burn marks were too precise, the hole cuts to clean. Not pirates, he said. This was military work. Ryn turned toward him. You mean another species? Maybe, Cole said quietly. Or someone using military weapons to look like pirates. As they searched the wreck, a faint signal came from deeper inside. It was a voice weak and fading. Help. Oxygen low. Cole's team moved fast. They boarded the ruined ship, wearing protective suits. The corridors were filled with smoke and debris. In one corner, under collapsed panels, they found a single survivor Avarn engineer barely alive. Cole lifted him out carefully. The alien's armor was burned, his breathing shallow. Who attacked you? Cole asked. The Varn's voice trembled. Not pirates. Not raiders. They came in black ships. No markings. They took the cargo, then destroyed everything. Did they say anything? Cole asked. The engineer coughed. They said, the Union is weak. They will cleanse the stars. Then his voice faded, and he went still. Cole closed the alien's eyes and stood in silence. Ryn lowered his head. The others watched quietly, understanding that this was not just an attack. It was a message. They returned to Silver Dawn and sent their report to the Council. Hours later, orders came back. Continue the investigation, but avoid open combat. Cole knew what that really meant. The Council was afraid to start a war. The following night, as the ship drifted near the asteroid field, Ryn joined Cole on the observation deck. You knew this would happen, Ryn said softly. Cole's eyes were fixed on the dark horizon. History repeats. When people believe peace will last forever, someone always comes to test it. Ryn looked uneasy. If these black ships attack again, will you fight? Cole turned toward him. If they force us, yes. But war is not something to rush. It always costs more than it gives. Before Ryn could reply, the alarm blared. Sensors detected movement among the asteroids. Multiple contacts approaching fast, Hannah shouted from the control room. No identification codes. Cole moved instantly. Shields up. Evasive pattern 6. Keep distance until we know who they are. On the screen, dark shapes appeared sleek, ships with sharp angles and no symbols. They moved in perfect formation. The radio crackled, and a cold voice spoke. Union vessel, leave this region or be destroyed. You have no claim here, Cole replied calmly. This is Union space. Identify yourself. No answer came. Instead, the black ships opened fire. Energy blasts struck across the shields. Shaking Silver Dawn, Hannah's hands moved fast on the controls. Shields at 70%. Returning fire? Negative, Cole said. We do not start wars. Another blast hit the side. They started it, Hannah said through gritted teeth. Cole studied the enemy pattern. Their formation was tight, precise, almost human-like. That thought made his chest tighten. He gave a short order. Evasive turn. Use the asteroid cover. Prepare countermeasures. The ship spun between the rocks, dodging blasts. Hannah flew with skill that amazed the alien crew. When a blast nearly hit the bridge, Rin gasped, gripping the seat tightly. "Can we escape?" Rin asked. Cole watched the radar. "Not yet. They are faster." He looked at the Crixus scout beside him. "Launch a beacon drone. Send all data back to Helix Prime." The scout obeyed. A small light shot into space, vanishing into hyperspeed. Moments later, another blast hit them. Systems flickered. Hannah shouted, "Engines at half power. We cannot take much more." Cole made a choice. Turn into the asteroid belt. Bring them close. The others looked shocked. "That is suicide," the Drail soldier said. "Trust me," Cole replied. They dived into the dense field of rocks. The enemy followed, firing constantly. But the asteroids worked as shields. Cole used his marine experience to predict where the enemy would move. He guided Hannah through tight gaps and sharp turns. "Release 2 mining charges behind us," he ordered. The humans had placed small explosives earlier during inspection. Now, as the black ships entered the narrow gap, the charges detonated. A blinding flash filled the void. 2 of the enemy ships vanished in fire. The rest broke formation. Confused, Cole seized the moment. "Now, full thrust. Get us out." Anna pushed the engines to maximum. The Silver Dawn shot out of the field and jumped to light speed. When they finally stopped near a safe zone, everyone on board was breathing heavily. The ship's hull was damaged, but they had survived. Rin stared at Cole. That was not defense. That was strategy. Cole wiped sweat from his brow. Sometimes survival needs both. They sent another message to the Council warning them of the organized fleet. The reply came quickly: urgent recall to Helix Prime. During the journey back, silence filled the ship. The alien crew looked at the humans with new respect, even a hint of fear. They had seen how quickly humans could turn calmness into precision and power. When they reached Helix Prime, the station was already on alert. Reports from other sectors told the same story. The black ships had attacked more outposts. The Council met again, this time without shouting. Every member knew the truth now. This was no small threat. The chairperson turned to Cole. "You faced them. What are they?" Cole answered simply. "They are organized, disciplined, and without mercy. Whoever leads them knows how we think." The room fell silent. The Drail General asked, "Then what do we do?" Cole's voice was firm. "Prepare your defenses. Protect your colonies. And remember the rules you laughed at before. Because if this war begins, you will need them." Rin looked around at the silent faces of the council members. He saw the fear, but also the beginning of understanding. The aliens had once thought humans were harmless. Now they began to see the truth. When the meeting ended, Cole stood by the window, staring out at the stars. He could feel the storm coming. And deep inside, he hoped the galaxy would learn quickly, before humans had to show them what true war meant. The news of the black ship spread quickly through the Galactic Union. Every sector on the border of Union space was on high alert. Convoys were delayed. Trade routes were patrolled heavily. Colonies prepared emergency shelters. Even worlds that had never experienced conflict before were practicing drills. Panic and fear rippled through the galaxy. But humans remained calm. Sergeant Cole and his team had returned to Helix Prime, but their work had only begun. The council called a special briefing to discuss strategy. Alien leaders crowded into the chamber, their faces tight with worry. The Drell General, once proud and dismissive, now spoke quietly, almost cautiously. Cole stood at the front. He had reviewed every report, every sensor reading, and every fragment of intelligence collected during the border attacks. He knew more about the enemy fleet than anyone else, and he knew one simple truth. The black ships were not just raiders. They were an organized military force with a plan. Rin, the Orange scholar, joined him again. He had been compiling data, learning how humans approach strategy. He had begun to see patterns that the aliens could not. "The enemy is testing our defenses," Cole began, his voice calm but firm. "They want to see how we respond. They are looking for weaknesses." If they find any, they will exploit them. A Varn officer spoke up. Why not strike first? Destroy them before they attack again. Cole shook his head. Because we do not know their full strength. Blind attacks invite disaster. We need intelligence first. We need control, the aliens whispered among themselves. This was not what they expected. They had thought humans were soft, polite, harmless. Now they realized humans were careful, calculating, and far from weak. After the briefing, Cole met with his team in the planning room. Hannah, the young pilot, was anxious. Sir, do you really think they will attack again? Cole looked at her steadily. Yes, they are disciplined. They will strike at the right time. Our job is to make sure the Union is ready when they do. One of the human Marines, a tall man named Daniel, leaned forward. Do we tell the Council how serious this is? Cole shook his head. Not yet. Let them think it is a border skirmish. If we show too much panic, they will act hastily. That is exactly what the enemy wants. The next day, the Union fleets began moving into position along the border. Human advisors coordinated patrol routes, trained mixed-species teams, and ran simulations of attacks. Cole demonstrated advanced defense techniques that no alien species had ever seen. Every move was precise. Every tactic measured. Alien officers watched in disbelief. They had expected humans to be weak, to hesitate, to avoid planning. Instead, the humans worked tirelessly, always focused, always patient. The aliens realized that human calmness was not fear. It was discipline. During one simulation, a Drell squadron tried to take control of the operation. They moved aggressively, firing too early and disrupting the formation. Cole intervened quickly. Focus. Follow the pattern. Your strength is useless without order. The Drell soldiers paused. For the first time, they listened to a human. Slowly, they followed his instructions. The simulation succeeded. The aliens understood something new. Humans did not need brute force to dominate. They needed precision and control. Rin observed from a corner, his tablet glowing. They are teaching the others without showing their full capability, he whispered to himself. It is subtle, but terrifying. As night fell on Helix Prime, Cole walked through the corridors. He noticed the changes in the aliens. Fear and respect were mixed in their eyes. No one laughed at the humans anymore. Some species approached quietly to ask questions, seeking advice on tactics, on preparation, on survival. In his quarters, Cole reviewed historical data from Earth. He looked at records of past wars, reading about conflicts that had spanned decades. He remembered how humans had learned from their own mistakes, how they had built rules to prevent total destruction. The concept of war crimes was still controversial even on Earth, but it was necessary. Humans understood that true strength included restraint. The next morning, a new alert sounded. Sensors had detected multiple contacts entering Union space. The black ships were returning, moving in coordinated formation. Their approach was silent, but their intent was clear. Cole gathered his team. They are coming. Stay calm. Follow your training. Anna's hands flew over the controls. Sir, they are faster than our patrols. We can't intercept them in time. Cole nodded. We will not try to destroy them yet. We need to observe, record, and prepare. Every move they make tells us something. Patience is our weapon. The black ships moved closer, their engines burning silently against the void. Alien fleets prepared to respond, but Cole's team maintained discipline. The humans coordinated positions, set defensive perimeters, and created traps using asteroid belts and gravity fields. Every action was deliberate, calculated to minimize risk while gathering maximum information. When the first black ship opened fire, the human team remained calm. They did not panic. They used evasive maneuvers, carefully countering each strike while ensuring the aliens in the fleet were protected. Their focus was unshakable. After hours of careful engagement, Cole's team had mapped the enemy formation. They had analyzed weapons, patterns, speed, and tactical decisions. The Council received a full report showing the enemy's strategy and weaknesses. The alien leaders were astonished. They had expected a simple fight, a test of strength. Instead, they witnessed humans teaching them patience, planning, and efficiency in the midst of an actual attack. Rin approached Cole in the observation deck. "Your people are remarkable. They do not rush. They do not panic. Yet every action is deadly effective," Cole nodded. "That is how humans survive. When we act recklessly, we die. When we act without rules, we destroy everything. Discipline is more powerful than fury." Hours later, the black ships retreated. They had accomplished nothing. The Union fleets followed cautiously, but Cole insisted they maintain their positions and avoid pursuit. He knew the enemy would learn from any mistakes. Back on Helix Prime, the council convened again. This time, silence filled the room. Every member listened closely as Cole explained the enemy tactics. He described patterns, signals, and potential strategies. Every word carried weight. The chairperson turned to the room. "It seems our humans have shown us more than we could have imagined. We underestimated their capabilities." Cole remained calm. "You did not underestimate their strength. You underestimated their discipline. Strength without control is meaningless. That is what your enemies will learn the hard way." Rin recorded everything, knowing that this briefing would change the galaxy's perception of humanity forever. Aliens had once thought humans were harmless, incapable of strategy, and polite to a fault. Now they were beginning to see humans as disciplined, intelligent, and potentially unstoppable if provoked. The days that followed were tense. Patrols increased along the borders. Convoys were escorted with precision. The humans trained alien officers in advanced defensive maneuvers. Every team that returned from the border reported not just enemy attacks, but new insights into their behavior. All thanks to human guidance. Cole watched it all quietly. He knew the real test had not yet come. The black ships would return. They would push further, harder, and faster. And when that moment arrived, humans would need to show the galaxy why their rules, their laws, and their restraint mattered. Late one evening, Rin joined Cole on the observation deck. Stars stretched endlessly before them. "Do you think the black ships will come back?" he asked softly. Cole looked at him with steady eyes. "They will. Every enemy tests limits. They learn from what they see. We must be ready to teach them the cost of underestimating us." Rin nodded, understanding finally what the galaxy had not yet grasped. Humans were not simply strong or polite. They were survivors. They had learned from history. They had created rules where no one else would. They restrained power when others would have let it destroy everything. "And when they test us again?" Rin asked. Cole's voice was quiet but firm. "Then we remind them why we call them war crimes. The galaxy will remember what humans are capable of, and they will fear recklessness, not the humans themselves." The stars outside Helix Prime continued to glow. In the quiet of the station, humans prepared. Every training exercise, every lesson, every moment of calm discipline was a shield for the galaxy. The aliens were beginning to understand, but Cole knew the full truth. Respect had limits. Patience had limits, and eventually humanity would have to act. When that day came, the black ships would learn that the species they once considered harmless had the experienced discipline, and resolved to shape the course of war itself, and the galaxy would never see humans the same way again. The Tellurian ship hovered above the Earth's surface, its silver hull gleaming in the sunlight. Inside, the crew was quiet, each alien processing what they had witnessed over the past days. The humans they had studied from afar now seemed entirely different from their earlier observations. The peaceful beings they had imagined were, in reality, capable of extraordinary intelligence and strength. Rafik stood on the dock, his boots resting firmly on the wooden planks, hands behind his back. He watched the aliens through their transparent observation panels, their eyes wide and unblinking as they tried to understand the depth of human capability. Despite the formal distance, a silent conversation passed between them, a mixture of curiosity, caution, and respect. "You have shown us much," one of the Tellurians finally said, its voice soft and melodic. We believed humans to be harmless, even fragile. We see now that we were wrong. Your species is formidable. Rafik nodded calmly. We are strong, yes, but strength without control is chaos. Humans survive not because we are reckless, but because we plan, understand consequences, and respect limits. Our greatest power is knowing when to act and when to hold back. The aliens exchanged glances. Their leader, a taller Telerian named Kale, stepped forward. You speak of restraint, yet you show such capability for destruction. We observed your simulations, your techniques, your coordination. You strike with precision, yet you enforce rules. This is unlike anything we know. How do you maintain such control? Rafik considered his answer carefully. Discipline is the key. Every human is trained to think beyond instinct. We follow laws, traditions, and lessons passed down through generations. We have made mistakes, yes, but we learn from them. That is why humans can be dangerous when threatened, but also capable of mercy. Strength is nothing without responsibility. Kale's antennae twitched as it processed the words. Responsibility. This is a concept our people respect, but we have never combined it with such organized potential for combat. It is remarkable. Rafik smiled slightly. It is not remarkable. It is necessary. Every choice has consequences. If we act without thought, we harm ourselves and others. That is the lesson humans have learned over thousands of years. We respect life, and yet we protect it fiercely. The Telerians fell silent. They had spent weeks observing humans, and yet only now, under Rafik's guidance, did they begin to understand. The demonstration of human tactics, the stories of justice, the discipline, and accountability, all of it had reshaped their perception. Humans were no longer creatures to be underestimated. They were a species to be acknowledged with caution and respect. Rafik continued, pointing toward the horizon. You saw how we train, how we coordinate, how we enforce rules, even in simulated combat. These skills are not just for war. They prepare humans for anything. The galaxy is unpredictable. Threats can appear without warning. That is why we are ready. One young Talerian, Lyra, tilted her head. You make it sound as though humans are constantly expecting conflict. Do you not seek peace? Rafik shook his head gently. Peace is always the goal. Humans prefer negotiation, understanding, and diplomacy whenever possible. But we are also realistic. If someone threatens us or others, we act. The galaxy does not always respect peace. Sometimes strength must support it. That is the difference. Humans do not fight for pride or greed alone. We fight to protect life and to uphold our values. The aliens' expression shifted. They had assumed humans were simple, easily dominated, or predictable. That assumption had been shattered. Humans were not merely fighters. They were thinkers, planners, and judges of their own actions. Their capability for war was intertwined with their sense of justice. Making them simultaneously dangerous and principled, Kale spoke again, his tone deliberate. We have observed many civilizations across countless systems. None have shown this combination of control, intelligence, and principle. Your species is unlike any other. Earth is not just another world. It is a fortress of ideas and strength. We understand now that to underestimate humans would be a grave error. Rafik nodded, acknowledging the weight of his words. Many have underestimated humans before, and they paid the price. We do not seek dominance, but we will defend ourselves. And we will defend others who cannot defend themselves. That is what makes humans different. We do not fight without reason, but we never back down from justice. Lyra's eyes widened. Justice. We thought we understood it, but humans have a depth we cannot ignore. Your methods, your stories, they are both terrifying and admirable. We have observed civilizations collapse, wars destroy worlds, and yet humans endure. There is resilience here we have never seen. Rafik smiled, though his expression was serious. Resilience is survival. Every challenge, every conflict teaches us something. We adapt, we improve, and we endure. That is the essence of humanity. You may think we are gentle or fragile, but strength often comes quietly, hidden until it is needed. The Tellurians looked down at the earth below. They saw forests, cities, rivers, and oceans, all peaceful on the surface. Yet Rafik had shown them that beneath the calm was a species capable of remarkable strategy, discipline, and determination. The peaceful exterior was not weakness. It was controlled strength. Kale turned to his crew. We must report this. The Council must know that Earth is not a simple world to negotiate with. Humans are formidable, prepared, and accountable. They will not be easily intimidated. Any attempt to manipulate them will fail. The younger Tellurians whispered among themselves. Lyra approached Rafik cautiously. You have given us much to think about. Humans are not what we imagined. We believed in harmless creatures, yet you have shown power tempered by principle. This will change how we approach your species forever. Rafik nodded. That is all I ask. Respect, understanding, and caution. Humans are capable of great good, but we are also capable of ensuring that justice is maintained. Underestimating us is a mistake no one should make twice. The Tellurian ship slowly ascended, leaving the dock behind. Rafik watched as it vanished into the sky, the sunlight glinting off its surface one last time. He knew the aliens would return to their homeworld with a new perspective. One shaped by what they had witnessed and learned, Earth remained calm, peaceful, and yet quietly prepared. Humans continued their daily lives unaware of the profound impression they had made on the visitors from another star system. They trained, studied, and lived with purpose, not to intimidate, but to ensure that if the galaxy tested them, they would endure. In the weeks that followed, transmissions from the Tellurian Council arrived at Earth's communication networks. They were filled with respect, careful observation, and requests for collaboration under terms of mutual understanding. The tone had changed entirely. Humans were no longer underestimated. They were acknowledged as a species whose combination of intellect, discipline, and moral strength demanded respect. Rafik read the messages, quiet satisfaction in his eyes. He had not acted as a soldier in this moment, but as a teacher. The galaxy now understood something crucial. Humans were not merely survivors. They were a force of principle and power, ready to meet the universe on their own terms. As the sun set, casting long shadows across the earth, Rafik walked through the city. Observing humans going about their lives, children played, scientists studied, leaders planned, and ordinary people acted with quiet courage. Each one was part of the network of resilience that made humanity what it was. Rafik understood, as did the Tellurians now, that humans were unpredictable not because they were chaotic, but because their intelligence, discipline, and moral code combined in ways no other species had mastered. To face a human was to face thought, planning, and an unyielding commitment to justice. The galaxy would remember this lesson for generations. Earth was not just a planet. It was a testament to what a species could achieve when strength was guided by principle, when discipline met courage, and when survival depended on wisdom as much as might. And so, the Tellurians left, carrying a new respect and a quiet caution back to their worlds. Humanity remained on Earth, calm, quiet, and prepared, unaware of the profound impact it had made. The lesson was clear: never underestimate humans, for they were capable of greatness and guarded by principles that could shape the fate of worlds. The galaxy had learned something new that day. Humans were no longer just creatures to observe. They were a force to respect, a species whose quiet strength could not be ignored. And Rafik, the Marine who had explained war crimes and the principles behind human strength, knew that the future would hold challenges. But humanity, he believed, would face them with intelligence, honor, and an unyielding spirit. And so Earth continued, its people living, learning, and preparing. The Tellurians would speak of humans in council chambers, in teaching halls, and in quiet reflections. They would tell their people that humans were unpredictable, disciplined, and principled. That humans were a species that deserved respect and caution in equal measure. The galaxy had seen the truth. Humans were more than what they appeared. They were guardians of their own values, masters of their own strength, and protectors of justice. They had shown the universe that power without principle was nothing, and that principle without power was fragile. Together, they made a species that no one could dismiss. A.